Play disc 1. Track 1. The screen goes black and a cheerful digital chiming sound spills out of the display's speakers. A crackle of static fills the air, coupled with a shrill electronic whine. After a few minutes, the display goes live and a disheveled-looking man appears on the screen. His eyes glitter with excitement. The timestamp on the screen is 2034-09-15. Hermie, I think we found her. After all this time, Shringa. I knew she wasn't dead. His speech is jittery. You can hear the urgency in his voice. She survived the Dragonfall, just as I've always said. I knew, and I was right. The screen explodes into static, and the electronic whine in the background sharpens into a needle-like pulse of a high-pitched sound. Somewhere in the background, Dante lets out a low whimper. The screen clears, and the excited face is closer to the screen than it was before. The words spill out of him in a breathless tide. Taking a team into the SOX to receive her, the radiation be damned. We will take appropriate precautions, of course, but we must go. Hermie, I think the body must be nearby as well. Somehow she has survived for all this time. The screen explodes into static again, then clears. The figure flickers across the screen. May not be back for some time. Look after Mom, okay? I worry about her. And Hermie, stay safe out there. I know that things are heating up in Berlin, and I know you. Student protests, civil uprising, you'll all be in the middle of it, I'm sure. Just stay safe, alright? And I'll do my best to do the same. I don't know what's going to happen when I step into the SOX, but I do know one thing. If the Fire Wing is still a danger, I will put an end to her, once and for all. Play track 2. The screen goes black for a moment, then a figure appears on the screen. Your late client, Green Winters. His elbow is planted on the table that he's seated at, and his chin rests on his palm. The other hand is wrapped around a bottle of cheap whiskey. The timestamp on the video reads 2053-1225. Found the message Adrian left me all those years ago. Got it cleaned up as best as I could. Strange hearing his voice again. He pauses to take a long pull on the bottle. It's good to hear him, even if he did insist on calling me Hermie. Dr. Adrian Vauclair, the hero of the people, the Dragon Slayer, my brother. He grimaces and rubs his eyes. Hard to believe it's been almost 20 years. Alright, so I'm going to start recording these DVDs again. For me, for Adrian, for whoever might end up watching them. Every time I do this, it winds up feeling like a waste of time. But I keep doing it anyway, on the off chance that I'll find something important. If I stumble into the clue that leads me to my brother, I know I'm going to want it on film. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, after all. No sense in quitting now. Christ, 20 years, all this time and still no leads, even with all my contacts and my resources. He takes another long swallow of cheap liquor. Even with my legendary bullheadedness, I've made no progress at all. I haven't turned up a single goddamn thing. When I hear something funny, the closest I've gotten to the clue was a rumor. Apparently a team emerged from the SOX a while back. Nobody's clear on the date, but, and get this, he leans into the camera and gives a conspiratorial wink. Supposedly, they vanished without a trace. He upends his bottle, drains it, slams it back down on the table. His eyes are rimmed with red. Not much of a rumor, considering I already know that you're gone, Greek brother. I live with that every day. Track 3. There's a grinding sound from the DVD tray, and Green Winter's image appears on the screen. There's an eager look on his face. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-1012. Stumbling on this archival footage of Feuerschwing's original attack, months before the Dragonfall. Easy to forget how devastating it was. Adrian saved a lot of people by bringing her down. I've got the footage all queued up to play, starting it now. Additional comments to follow. The slow whir of the DVD player shifts to a high-pitched whine. A distorted, wavering image blooms into being on the screen. A timestamp in the center. Whoa! A timestamp in the upper right corner of the screen marks the date. July 6, 2012. It's difficult to... Oh, hey! It's difficult to make out what you're seeing at first. The screen is dark and smoky, and the telltale flashes of emergency vehicle lights flicker on the periphery of the screen. The camera pushes in, and you can make out two figures standing in a ruined landscape. All at once, the sound cuts in. Again, for those of you just joining us, we are coming into you live from Stolberg. A few hours ago, the Dragonfall launched an unprovoked attack on this sleepy Hearts Mountain town, and you can see the results behind me: fire, ashes, and blood. We are joined tonight by a survivor of this latest and most horrifying attack. The reporter turns to face a pale man standing behind him. Sir, I understand that you've been through a terrible ordeal. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us tonight. Survivor. The camera switches focus to a middle-aged man with a haunted look in his eyes. He stammers out a reply. Yes, of course. If you could, sir, could you please tell the people at home about your experience of the attack? It was horrible, just pure chaos. So many people are dead, people I knew, roasted alive or trampled to death trying to escape. My own house was burned to the ground during the attack. My family, we have nothing now. You all made it through the attack though, your wife, your kids. Yeah, we all made it, thank God. We rode out the attack in a small shelter. Me, my wife, and our 2 daughters. The shelter, it protected us, but the heat was just unbearable. We couldn't have stayed in there much longer than we did. How long were you holed up in there? 3, maybe 4 hours? I don't know. We just stayed inside until the heat died down and the screaming stopped. And what happened after that? When it was over, you know, when the air cooled down, the reporter nods and the man continues. We stepped outside. There was nothing left, just smoldering wreckage and the dense cloud of black oily smoke. And the stench in the air. God, that smell. It smelled like roasting meat. There's a long pause. From the tortured look on his face, you can tell that the man is struggling to decide whether or not to continue speaking. Eventually he does. My girls, they found what was left of their nanny outside. Her body, what was left of it, was slumped against the shelter door. I keep telling myself that I couldn't hear her pounding to get in, but that isn't true. I could. I just couldn't bring myself to open that door. I couldn't risk my family like that. Not for her, not for anyone. Thank you, sir, for taking the time to speak with us. Yeah. You heard it here, an absolutely chilling account of tonight's attack. Again, the town of Stolberg has been reduced to ash, another victim of the fire wing. Stay with us for more up-to-the-minute reporting on the Feuerschwing's reign of terror. Green Winter's face reappears on the screen. Okay, it's time for a new approach. Adrian's a complete dead end, so that much is pretty clear by now. So I'm gonna do some digging on Feuerschwing instead. Let's see where this goes. The screen abruptly goes black. Play track 4. The DVD player ramps up to speed, filling the air with a shrill whining sound. Green Winter's image appears on the screen. Whoa. The timestamp on the video reads 2054, 1031. Well, that was a bust. Little progress on Feuerschwing either. He shakes his head. I don't know, it's weird. The information is there, it's just wrong somehow. It's too well laid out, too simple. Real life is messy, and this just feels a little too neat. That's not the only thing that's nagging me. I'm getting that tingly feeling all up and down the back of my neck again. It feels like I'm being tracked. I'm no Matrix hotshot like Clockwork or Schaefer, but I'm good enough to know when someone's on my scent. Gotta install some new security measures. Can't be too careful. Play track 5. The display goes blank. The face of Green Winters winks onto the screen. He's seated at a computer. Off to his left, an enormous monitor fills the screen. His voice carries an edge of panic. The timestamp on the video reads 2054, 1109. Christ, I'm getting too close to something. There's a trail of bodies and there have been disappearances. Gearbox, Martian, Peregrine, they've all disappeared within the past few years. Gearbox just went AWOL yesterday, and they were all making the same sorts of inquiries about the Firewing that I've been. There are ghost stories spreading around the Decker community. Stories about Deckers disappearing and then showing up again later, but wrong somehow. Scary stuff, and I'm starting to think that it's true. Blitz leans in to whisper to you. I know the stories he's talking about, Chief. Never really put much stock in them, not until now. Could these rumors be related to what's happening here? Am I being paranoid? He pauses for a moment as if seriously considering the question. Then he shakes his head and slams his fist on the table. No, I don't think so. Something big is happening here, and I'm right in the middle of it. Iger cuts in. That's a bit of a leap. One other thing. Tolstoy told me a story about a kill team that might be related to all this. Apparently a decker named Hellbor posted a theory about Firestring on the Shadowrun BBS about 5 years ago. About an hour ago, a mil-spec team showed up in meat space and cooked her entire apartment, with her in it. If what Tolstoy told me was true, Hellbor live posted the event. She described her killer, this great big orc with skin grafts. Then the whole thread disappeared, gone without a trace. Leap, Iger love? Sounds like he's right on the right track to me. Iger holds her silence, but concedes the point with a small nod. On the screen, Winters pauses. He looks like he's working up to something. Finally, he speaks. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This has gotta be Firestring. All of it. Adrian was right about her. She's still alive, and she's out of the SOX. She's covering her tracks, working the shadows, preparing to rise again. And that means that I have to find you, Adrian, for everyone's sake. Thankfully, I've got a lead. For the first time in 2 decades, I've got a solid goddamn lead. I've backtraced all of the Matrix nodes that Hellbor was looking into back before she got cooked. Whoever has been purging the Matrix didn't think about that. And I found that she'd turned up. Winter stabs a few keys on his keyboard and an image expands to fill the screen on his monitor. A satellite photo of a rural landscape annotated with GPS data. A set of map coordinates. So now I've got a target, a place to start digging. The Harfeld Manor, conveniently located on an isolated stretch of countryside, miles away from prying eyes. Matrix records indicate that some sort of data vault exists beneath the estate, so that's what I need to get into. And this is where we come in. As if on cure, a familiar image winks onto the monitor. Winters left. Monica. I think I'm gonna tap Schaefer for this job. She's got the skills to bypass whatever security they're running out there. She's gullible enough to take the job in the first place. I'll feed her some line about flux state security and she'll eat it up with a spoon. I warned her. Amsel's voice is choked with rage. I warned her. On the display, Winter's mouth parts into a broad grin. Time to put plans into motion. By this time tomorrow night I should have the information that I need. And on the off chance that Schaefer gets taken out, well, that'll tell me something too. Can't make an omelet and all that. Until then. Plays track 6. When you play the 6th track, a small video window appears. You recognize the scene in the window. You're looking at the tattered drapes and nicotine-stained wallpaper of Winter's hotel room at Dust Castle House. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-1110. There's a blur of motion and the haggard form of Green Winter's lumbers into the frame. Suspicions confirmed. Schaefer dead. Christ. Winters reaches a shaking hand off camera. A moment later, it returns clutching a cheap plastic drinking glass. He gulps something down, wipes his mouth with the back of his hand and takes a deep breath. Okay. Back up, slow down, start from the beginning. Winters closes his eyes and makes a visible effort to calm himself. When he speaks again, his voice is steady. Got the call from the contact in Kreutz Bazaar. Schaefer killed on the estate run. Matrix security at the estate cooked her brain. Considering Schaefer's skill and experience, on-site IC must have been extreme, even by Berlin standards. Security of that kind costs money. Real money. Given the evidence uncovered so far, corporate involvement unlikely. The connection to the firewing is too strong. So, let's come right out and say it. The dragon is what we're dealing with here. And the smart money says that she's coming for me next. Well, I won't go down without a fight. I've still got my contacts, still got my connections, and the flux state can be a hell of a weapon for the man who knows how to manipulate it. Winters takes another long pull from his glass, grimaces and swallows. Time for me to make my play. Ghost stories or no, missing deckers or no, I've got to jack into the Matrix and start pulling strings. The countermeasures that I installed earlier should be more than enough to keep me safe for the 20 minutes I'll be in there. Winters drains the rest of the glass, then tosses it back over his shoulder. A moment later, you hear the dull clattering sound of hard plastic on linoleum. Schaefer's death was tragic. She was a staunch supporter of the F-state, but still, all things considered. Winters fishes for something off screen. A moment later, his hands reappears, clutching a data jack cable. Better her than me. He plugs the cable into his head and the screen cuts to static. As your figure nears the eject button, a black screen cuts in over the static. A moment later, Green Winter's haggard face appears. If you're watching this, then I guess that they caught up to me, but they will be after you too now. Blitz whispers into your ear again, more harshly this time. What the hell is this? Why didn't you warn me about this before I came in here? Blitz is scared. We didn't know. Not exactly. Not exactly. I didn't come here to be hunted by a dragon. I'm not even a part of this. You are now, whether you like it or not. So quiet down and quit bothering him. Whoever you are, whatever you think you're after, you need to find Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Not because he's my brother, because if Firestring is rising again, he's the only one who can stop her. You've seen what happens to people who get too close to this. I'm dead, and dozens of others will have died. You'll be next, unless you can find Adrian. The screen cuts to static. The message is over. The DVD tray slides out of the reader. Alright. The room goes quiet as everyone struggles to process what you've just seen on the DVD. Finally, Dietrich breaks the silence. A dragon, son of a bitch. Green Winters sent us up against a dragon. The Firewing. Amsel's voice is thick with dread. She lives. I'm really starting to regret the fact that I didn't just stay at the hotel. Iger ignores him. Wait a second, we don't know for certain. Dietrich lays a hand on Iger's shoulder. The evidence seems pretty convincing to me, love. I'll even take it a step further. I think that secret facility that we stumbled into was her lair. The room falls silent. Iger and Glory exchange glances. After a moment, Dietrich continues. Just think about it. The Decker that Winters got those coordinates from was posting about Firestring. Then she was killed by that same orcish bastard that attacked us after Monica died. There's a direct link between the dragon, the scarred orc, and the Harfeld Manor. And then Winters was killed by the same thing that killed Monica. Exactly. My gut tells me that the dragon is down there, Analog. Someplace far beneath the surface. I think that we knocked down the door to her lair without even knowing it. And I think that given what we've seen, the dragon will do whatever it takes to keep us quiet about it. Okay, going on the assumption that there is a dragon and that she will come after us, what do we propose to do about it? Find Vauclair, kill the dragon. Any suggestions? Find Vauclair. Yes, Analog is right. Finding Dr. Vauclair should be our priority. And if we're going up against a dragon, we need to find ourselves a dragon slayer. Winters spent 20 years searching for Vauclair and got him nowhere. How do you propose that we find him? With the help of an information broker. Back to the coffee shop then? For this, no. While Herr Burakazi is very capable, a task of this magnitude is beyond him. We need to make contact with the premier information broker in Berlin. We need to talk to Alice. Blitz scoffs at Amsel. Alice, best of luck, and I hope you're rich. Amsel raises an eyebrow. For this, rich enough, even if only just. Who is this Alice? A most prominent figure in Berlin's shadow community. Ex-Schachenwellen writer. She provides information retrieval services for the F-State. Amsel returns to the computer console behind him and runs his fingers over a virtual keyboard. The machine begins to hum. If Winters was right, if Vauclair is still alive, then she can help us find him. The console spits out a stick of black plastic. Amsel plucks it from the computer and hands it to you. Here, your key to speak with Alice. Cred stick? Amsel nods. An encoded cred stick, yes. 10,000 nuyen. Alice will not show her face for less. This represents the last of my personal savings, Analog. Make this meeting count. 10,000 just to talk to her? Amsel nods. Her standard fee. Alice is in a position to ask it, and we're in no position to argue. Just like I said, why doesn't anyone listen to me? Moving on. Where do I need to go? Take the U-Bahn to the Altstadt Spandau. There you will find a connecting tube that locals refer to as the rabbit hole. You'll find a method of contacting Alice there. Don't call it that in front of her. Word on the street is that she hates it. Please hurry. While you're out, I will work on acquiring new contracts for the team. Alice is the best there. Alice is the best there is for what she does, and her services carry a price tag to match. Alright, so here we go. We find Alice, and she gives us a price, which we then have to earn. U-Bahn, this way. Arcade machine? The only active console in this derelict span of U-Bahn platform is an old video card machine. The CRT monitor set into this machine's cabinet glows invitingly. Cheerful, pixelated graphics swirl and dance on the screen. Investigate. At the base of the control panel, you find a cleverly hidden input port. But the port is shrouded in black plastic. It appears to be the approximate shape of a typical cred stick. Okay, I guess this is it. Internal motors grip the cred stick and pull it into the machine. It disappears into the port and the screen goes black. Moments later, a video image fills the screen. The picture is dark and grainy, a far cry from the bright, colorful sprites that previously inhabited the display. On the screen is a dimly lit office. The place looks like it was pulled straight from an old detective movie. From the Venetian blinds on the window to the great swaths of shadow that paint the walls black. Center stage, sitting behind a large mahogany desk, is the silhouette of an impressive-looking woman in charcoal gray suit. The tip of a cigarette glows cherry red in the shadows. She leans forward into the light, and you catch a first glimpse of Alice. Why was I thinking, like, she would be dressed like Alice in Wonderland? Anyway. Her face is all hard planes and sculpted angles with high cheekbones and almond eyes. Her lips are painted a frigid blue, but the look in her eyes is even colder. A head of lustrous black hair is interspersed with flowing streams of silent light. Alice exhales a plume of smoke, then tips her cigarette into a nearby ashtray. She fixes her eyes on you, and her lips curl into a humorless smile. We're on your dime, friends. Tell me what you're looking for. Tell me about Dr. Vauclair. She raises an eyebrow. The Dragon Slayer? Interesting. He's been missing for a long time. Yes, but can you find him? She looks at you in the eyes, and the smile disappears. Her voice is all business. If he's out there somewhere, I'll find him for you. He should be living under an assumed name in California Free State. Or he could be living under an assumed name in the California Free State, and I'd still track him down. And if he's not alive, I'll tell you when you can find his corpse. Oh, that would be interesting. I know who you really are. Oh well. I'm satisfied. Let's talk about the job. Alright, here's how this is gonna work. When you give me the go-ahead, I'm gonna start gathering information for you. Once I'm finished, you're going to bring me a cred stick encoded with an encryption key that I'll provide you. That cred stick will have 50,000 new yen on it. That's a ton. When I get my cred stick, you'll have your information. That's the deal. Take it or leave it. Price gouging, eh? Let's see if we can talk her down. I wasn't aware that there was a difference between the two, between anarchists and capitalists. In all seriousness, I'm charging you what the job is worth. Do you know how much work it takes to find a digital ghost? It's going to be a wet work, breaking into government archives. Oh, I might even have to commission an expedition to the SOX. This is a serious undertaking, friend. Now, do we have a deal or don't we? Alright, it's a deal. Okay, but remember, you say so and I go. From that point on, you're on the hook to pay my fee. No turning back, no refunds. Are we square on this? Yeah, we're square. Good, I'll be in touch. Screen goes black. Moments later, the machine reboots. The colorful sprites that you saw when you first approached the arcade cabinet return. Nothing more to see here. Alice is gone. Alright, back to the hideout, right? I believe so. Yeah. Alright, did you find us any jobs? Yes, I did. She accepted your payment, and I ordered the search for the information we need. Very good. I can't imagine this will be cheap. What's the price? 50,000. It's about as I expected. Thankfully, we're prepared for this. I've established contact with a number of new clients. You can find information on the jobs logged on your commission computer. One job file is there already. While you're working to earn Alice's fee, I will continue to dig for clues about Feuerschwinge. If she is in fact roosting under the Herfeld Manor, then there must be some evidence to support that fact. A dragon's a large thing to hide after all. Yeah, probably. Careful, remember what happened to Monica. I will never forget. Don't worry, Analog, I'm going to conduct my investigation the old-fashioned way. Through contact and deduction, not in careful observation. I will not jack into the Matrix until this entire sorry episode is finished. It's probably a good idea. Speaking of doing things the old-fashioned way, Malit is working to discover information off those other DVDs. It's a painstaking process and will not be quick, but she is optimistic that she will be successful in time. Finally, I've been checking up on our old friends, the orc with the skin grafts. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I'll keep you appraised as the situation develops. Good work. One last thing before you go. Samuel Beckenbauer wanted me to pass a message to you. Who? Do you know him? The orc who runs the shelter across the way? Oh, yeah. I do know him, actually. I think. Well, he has a job for you, but he wouldn't discuss it with me. It's worth your time, though. Okay. Let's take a look at the computer first. Jobs directory. Pharma cleanup job, Humanist data steal. Here you will find the complete transcript of my conversation with Herr Fuchs, potential client. The job seems to be relatively straightforward and the payout is reasonable. One word of caution before you proceed. There are aspects of this run that you might find morally troubling. Be sure to read and understand the specifics of the job before accepting. If you do accept, you'll be expected to carry out the requirements of the job in full. After reading the transcript, you may choose whether or not to accept the job. If you respond in the affirmative, our client will be notified and I will make all necessary preparations for the run. Guest, Herr Amsel. Yes, I am here. To whom am I speaking? You may call me Herr Fuchs. Very well. Please describe the work that you would like to have done. Straight to the point. I like that. Very well. I'd like to retain your team's services to clean up a mess. Go on. My employers dispatched a team of operatives to conduct a quiet operation at a local sharing Pharma AG lab. Unfortunately, they botched the job. The team was eliminated, but we have reliable information that one of the operatives has been taken captive. If this rogue agent were to spill information leading back to my employers, it could lead to a corporate war. A great many lives could be lost. My employers would like nothing more than to prevent such a tragic turn of events. Okay, so you want me to either rescue him or kill him. Is that it? Ah, I see. And you wish to retain my team's services to tie up loose ends? Exactly. The the captive operatives is a rigger by the name of Thorvald Enstead. We need him neutralized before he can inform on us to his captors. As Enstead and his team have already put on the facility on high alert, stealth will not be an option. Your team will need to shoot its way in, eliminate Enstead, and exit the facility. Yep. A straightforward enough task and well within my team's capabilities. What are you offering in terms of pay? 15,000. This offer is non-negotiable. Very well, I'll pass this offer on to my team. Very good. Good day, Herr Amsel. Let's take a look at the other one. Manus Data Steel. Samuel Beckenbauer has approached me with an offer of work. This is the guy that we were supposed to talk to. Apparently an associate of his has learned some disturbing details regarding the Berlin chapter of the Humanist Polo Club. We would like to contract your team to investigate these rumors. Beckenbauer was unwilling to discuss the specifics of the job in your absence. He's requested that you speak to him in person. Okay. Well, let's talk to him then. I'm getting the feeling that his job is going to be more savory